Welcome everyone. My name is Shayna Jacques. I'm the Outreach Manager for PSS of COVID Care, and I welcome all of you to today's webinar. Today we're going to talk about technology. The title is Get Fit with Technology. Our presenter today is Fiona Adams. Welcome, Fiona. She's the program lead at Senior Planet. And I appreciate you today for doing this webinar for us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, some of you might know a little bit about PSS, but just a quick overview about our services. We are a nonprofit agency that has for mission to strengthen the capacity of older New Yorkers and their families and community to thrive. Our PSS Life University, where the webinars are part of it also, offers educational training and other program online, and also at our 10 local senior centers. So these educational training are designed to help the older adults stay healthy, engaged, and connected. Right. We also have our PSS Circle of Care program where I'm currently working. It's to provide free personalized support for somebody who's caring for a loved one who is frail, chronically ill, has a memory loss issues, or we provide these services in all 5 boroughs. And also we have our grandparent building where we have the grandparent or family member other than the parent is raising a grandchildren. Also, we have our coming of age program where it's inspired people 50 plus to live with passion and purpose. Thank you again for all of you to participate on today's webinar. If you have any question, please enter in the Q&A box. So we're gonna at the end of the presentation. And this webinar it's been recorded and it's going to be posted on our website. So if anybody is missing it, or if you're missing some part of it, you can go back to our website and view it again. So thank you again for participating. To learn more about our services and different services programming that we have, so still visit us online. For PSS of COVID Care, it's psscaregiver.org. Coming of age, it's coming of age NYC.org, and all our class and event or PSSUSA or .org/events. And for this particular webinar and all of the one that we have, you can just do pssusa.org/resources and you will see all of them.
So I work for a company that has the name technology, has the word technology in the name, but as you can see, technology is not necessarily, I'm not an expert at technology, and our company actually really doesn't like to lead talking about technology. So let me tell you a little bit about what we'll cover today. So we'll do an introduction to the company I work for, which is Older Adults Technology Services, and our flagship program is Senior Planet. I'll talk to you a little bit about the program that I am building here and managing, which is called Team Senior Planet, that focuses on health and wellness. And then we're going to talk about mindfulness and mindfulness technology and apps that you could potentially think about using. Because as we all know, I'm a former caregiver. You all may be caregivers or have relationships with caregivers. It's a very stressful experience. Hopefully we all find some joy in it as well, but at the end of the day, it's hard, it's rough, it's stressful. And so we all have to find strategies that we can use to help to manage that, because I'm sure we've all heard, I don't want to kind of talk too much about the things you've already heard, but we all know the effects of chronic stress on our bodies and on our health. And so we definitely have to be intentional about managing the stress that comes with caregiving. So I want to share a little bit more about Oats. As I mentioned, it's Older Adults Technology Services. We're a nonprofit organization that was founded in 2004. We do technology training through in-person and more so online. We're growing our online training as well, but we specifically focus on training older adults to use technology in different areas of their lives. We have 4 flagship centers. The first one started here in New York City, and we've grown to Denver, Colorado, San Antonio, Texas, Palo Alto, California. We're in Maryland. We do a little bit in Florida, and we have discussions with folks internationally all the time. So we're a small nonprofit, but our reach is just growing and growing, and we're so excited about that. In addition to our centers, we also have partner sites that we go to, whether they're community centers or senior centers, libraries, churches, to deliver our programming. We also have learning modules online, and these are specifically for people who have registered in our multi-week courses to give them supplementary information that they can access when they're not in class. We also have a website, seniorplanet.org, and it's pretty popular. We get about a million unique visitors per year, and the most popular topic on our website would be the sex column that we run every 2 weeks. So that's pretty cool to see that older adults are still interested in learning about how to keep intimacy going in their lives. So as I mentioned, we are a technology training organization, but we're really about impact. We want to teach older adults how to use tech to have impact in various areas of their lives. So those areas would be social engagement, creative expression, financial security, civic engagement, and health and wellness, which is the area that I mentioned I manage. And that program is called Team Senior Planet. So just to give you a little bit of information about the other areas. So for civic engagement, for example, we have a course that we call Activate, and that teaches older adults how to raise their voices in their communities and how to create change that really matters to them. For creative expression, we partner with MoMA, and we have them come in and do some sort of tech-enabled art project with the older adults. And then for financial security, we're teaching older adults all about managing their money online safely. So that's just a sprinkling of some of the courses that we offer in the other impact areas. So if you know of any older adults, or if the older adults that you're caring for are still able to get out, please do, see if any of them can take advantage of our services. Because at the end of the day, it's all rolled into social engagement, which is so incredibly important for older adults and all of us, especially living in a city like New York, where there's lots of social isolation. But I do want to just share a little bit more about Team Senior Planet, which is our health and wellness program that looks at approaches to healthy aging. I think as I was building the program, what I really wanted people to take away from it more than anything else is that, genetics aside, things that we don't have in control aside, there is a lot that we control as we age. And we do have tools and resources that we can tap into to really affect how we age. So we familiarize older adults with wellness-related digital tools. We also do fitness training because we know that it's not all about the tech. We have to get out, we have to move, we have to eat well, we have to have a very holistic approach to healthy aging. So the program involves multi-week tech classes, we do lectures, we do fitness classes, we have special events. We have a full roster of activities to help older adults just learn and really embrace healthy aging. And we're seeing really great results from the program. We do surveys at the beginning and end of our classes, and these are some of the results that we're hearing from our participants. 47% say they're sleeping better, 70% are more energetic, 86% said that they have access to more health information, which is so important. Information gives us power, right? So feeling like you have more access is super important. 71% are more confident in their ability to live independently, 75% are more optimistic, and 66% feel more connected to their friends and family. I would say that a few of these results here are particularly tied to the fact that in addition to the movement classes, we also really focus on mental health and stress management in the course. So, and that social engagement that I mentioned, because life can be lonely. It can be stressful. It can, there are a range of emotions that we experience as we experience life. And so we want to make sure that we are using the tools, taking advantage of the tools that are out there to help us manage that. And we're really thankful that we're seeing that the tools and the exercises that we offer to our participants are having an effect. They are feeling more optimistic. They are feeling more connected. They're feeling energetic and sleeping better. And so what I wanted to do today is to go through one of the kind of classes that we would offer to our participants. This is not, we usually do it in more of a hands-on way, but I wanted to at least introduce you to the information, which may or may not be familiar to you, but we are going to talk about mindfulness. So we'll go over what mindfulness is. We'll go over the benefits. We'll go over the tech that's available. There's one particular app that I personally use that I really enjoy. And so we'll go through that app a little more closely, and hopefully, you'll think about downloading it and trying it out for yourself. So we'll go through those features, and then we'll look at a few other popular apps as well. I wish that we could have a little more interaction here, but Shane, I know you mentioned that we'll save the questions to the end. But mindfulness, we've all probably heard of mindfulness. I think it's been a pretty big buzzword for the last several years. And people, I think, sometimes think about meditation when they think of mindfulness, and then they automatically say, oh God, who has time for that? I run a caregiver support group, and this is something that I've talked to my group members about. And that is absolutely the first thing that they say to me: I don't have time. I even suggested that they just take 5 minutes to do some deep breathing. And I was told, I don't have time. And so I don't know if you're thinking that right now as well as I'm speaking about this, but I ask you to just be open to the thought of it, and just, let's go through this and learn a little bit more and maybe give it a try. So mindfulness is the ability to be fully present, aware of where you are and what you're doing, and not overly reactive, which can be tough sometimes. When you're in a crisis situation, that fight and flight mode kicks in and you just kind of react rather than taking a moment to respond. But mindfulness could potentially help with that. Mindfulness, as I mentioned, is often associated with meditation. It could be incorporated into different activities. As you're walking, you could be doing a mindful walk as you're paying attention to the trees or the environment around you, rather than looking at your phone, as I often do while I'm walking. And as I mentioned, it's becoming more and more popular. There's a particular type of mindfulness that you may have heard of, which is mindfulness-based stress reduction. This was introduced in the late 70s, and it's even offered at hospitals all around the country because of the benefits that people are seeing from it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that particular form of mindfulness, but just to go over some of the benefits. Reduces stress and anxiety. It improves sleep. It improves your cognition and memory. It's actually been shown to potentially help ward off dementia. And it may be linked to other health benefits like lower blood pressure, reduced risk of stroke, and reduced risk of heart disease. So I also wanted to go a little bit more into the mindfulness-based stress reduction that I mentioned. There was actually a study done a few years ago where there were two groups of caregivers specifically. One group took advantage of this MBSR, while the other group took advantage of other types of interventions, such as support groups, such as education, such as, probably some of the tools that you may be taking advantage of now as a caregiver. And they both participated in the intervention. So whether it was the educational seminars, the support group, or the mindfulness-based stress reduction exercises, which would be some meditation, some yoga, some stretching, just really having that that time to be in the present. And after, I think it was 8 to 10 weeks, the research actually showed that those who participated in the mindfulness exercise, they showed more immediate and long-lasting stress reduction, anxiety reduction, and just overall better mental health. So of course, that's not to say that the other strategies are not helpful. It's just to say that adding mindfulness to any techniques you're using now could actually have some great benefits. So I wanted to talk as well about a really quick technique that is taught when mindfulness-based stress reduction is done, and then we'll get to the tech part of it. But there is something called a stop exercise. So the S is just stopping what you're doing for a moment. The T is taking a breath and just concentrating on the flow of your breath in and out. The O is observing your thoughts, your feelings, and your physical state without any sort of judgment about whether it's good or bad or what it means. It's just really noticing what it is. And then P is proceeding with something that can be helpful to you as you address the situation or address the stress that you're in. So maybe calling a friend or having, your favorite healthy snack or doing a little bit of exercise or whatever it is that helps you manage stress. And so this is how we, rather than just reacting to a situation, we stop and we take a moment to just do these 4 steps and then proceed from there. So that's an example of mindfulness-based stress reduction. You're not sitting and doing yoga for 20 minutes or just trying to be still for half an hour or 2 hours, as some of these really experienced meditators do. But you're stopping, taking a breath, observing your thoughts, and then moving forward. That seems like a pretty reasonable way to proceed for those who may not fully buy into meditation and other thoughts that people tend to have of mindfulness. So when we start looking at the tech that you can use to support mindfulness, one thing that I use is a do not disturb feature on your smartphone. So my phone automatically goes on do not disturb at 10 p.m. every night and automatically turns on at 7 o'clock in the morning. Now I understand, I'm no longer a caregiver. I know that as a caregiver, you may not have the luxury of doing that for an entire night, but maybe you can do it for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for an hour during the day so that you can just take a moment and then get back to whatever may be calling. There are many smartphone apps, we'll go through one in particular today, and then I'll tell you about a few others that you can look into. And then Amazon Alexa and Google Home, these smart home devices, they can play guided meditations for you if you don't want to use it on your phone. There are lots of other tech devices out there now that you can command them to do all sorts of things and they will do them for you, including guided meditations. There's wearable tech that measures your breath and your heart rate, so Fitbits and Apple Watches, and they're actually becoming quite sophisticated now where they can tell you if your heart rate is so elevated that you need to calm down. And they also have features that can remind you to take a moment to breathe every so often. So these wearable tech instruments are definitely introducing and including lots of different features that can help with stress management throughout the day, because we do live in a pretty stressful world. There's even a smart yoga mat that has different senses. And, to be honest, I'm not as familiar with that one. So that is something that, if you're interested in, maybe you can follow up on. So stop, breathe, and think. This is the app that I personally use. I like it because it has lots of free features. Quite a few of the apps, they allow you to try a certain number of sessions for free, and then you have to pay. This one does also have a paid or a premium plan, but the free features are plentiful, so there's really no need to spend any money. It's available for both the iPhone and the Android. And it came out of Nonprofit Tools for Peace. It's used by all ages. As I mentioned, there's a free and a subscription service, and you can either start by answering a series of questions to check in and to see how you're doing, or you can go directly to explore and just look at the different categories that are available. So it can take you through better sleep. It can take you through, I'm feeling anxious, I need to calm down. There are features where you can do acupressure. So it's really a great app. Here's one of the features that you can go to. You can try, you know, if you want to go directly to focusing on your breathing, you can choose that theme. Then you can choose how long you want to do it. As you see, as you go into the longer sessions, that's where the premium feature comes in, and that is paid. But, you know, who wants to sit for 20 minutes? We have 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Let's do it. Let's get our heart rate down. Let's get our breathing back to a normal pace. Let's get that relaxed sense back and then move on. And that actually can happen in 3 minutes. So you can set your own timer. You can decide if you want to use a male voice, if you want to use a female voice. There's even a feature where you can journal, you know, while you're doing it or after you're doing it. So there are many options for using this app that I really appreciate. You can also link it. If you have an iPhone, which I'm more familiar with, there is a health app and it can be linked to that so that you can have a holistic view of what you're doing in terms of your health and wellness. So you can see how long you're meditating, how many steps you've taken, you know, how many calories you've eaten if you choose to log that. So that's the app that I really prefer. And I would really encourage you to download it and to try it because, you know, we don't have that many details in here, but there are lots of different themes that you can choose. Actually, I'm going to open the app right now and go through it and just tell you a few more of the options that you have. So when you go to the Explore section, there's a section where you can just get started. There are 10 options. You can do a body scan where you're just kind of sitting for a moment and it starts at the top of your body and it's having you check in with your face. How does your face feel? Because oftentimes we sit and our jaw is clenched and we don't even realize it. And so it forces you to just, or I won't say force, it invites you to just relax your face. I know that I often carry tension in my shoulders. And so you think about relaxing those shoulders, pulling them down away from your ears rather than being so stressed. Opening up your chest and really getting that breath through and just making sure that from the crown of your head to the bottom of your feet that you're just aware of what your body is doing and how you're feeling. There's an option where you can count your breaths. I think that that is an amazing way to get into mindfulness and meditation because, you know, as caregivers, you're probably accustomed to always doing, thinking. So for someone to say, just sit and don't think about anything for 5 minutes, that's a little more difficult. So if you can still have something to do, but it's something that's contributing to relaxation and stress reduction, so you sit and you count your breaths. And as you're counting your breaths, your body is relaxing, the stress is minimizing, the anxiety is starting to minimize, at least for those moments. But research does show that the effects tend to last for at least a little bit after you do the exercise. In addition to those types of sessions, as I mentioned, there are sleep options. You can choose to pick a session according to the length of time. There's one on finding your focus. I love doing this as a hands-on session because we get to do it together, but this is okay. I hope that I am piquing your curiosity so that you want to actually go and download this app and try it out for yourself. There are some new features that are added, which I think, you know, as caregivers, when there is so much stress and so much anxiety, it tends to bleed into other areas of your life and just who you are as a person. And so they've introduced a theme called Body Positive, where it's just reminding you how beautiful you are, regardless, you know, because sometimes as caregivers, oftentimes you're not taking care of yourself as well as you want to, and then you start to have feelings about your own body and your own health. And so it's not a bad idea to just be reminded of how beautiful we all are regardless. So those are just a few of the topics that are included, but there's so many more. Yoga, acupressure, it's even in Spanish if you know anyone who would prefer to do it in Spanish. So I definitely encourage you to give that a try. A few others that are out there. So Insight Timer, it's supposed to be, it calls itself the #1 free app for meditation and sleep. Also has a very large library of guided meditations. There are profiles of the teachers and meditation experts on the app. As with most of these, there's free content, and then you can also purchase a premium version, which gives you even more access. Buddhify, it focuses on how you're feeling. It says that it's for busy people, and which we all are, but it focuses on how you're feeling and just kind of being in that moment without judgment. There is an app, there is a fee to download the app, as well as an additional membership option if that's something that you're interested in. It allows you to meditate with others, so there is a social component in that app that is not available in the one that I went through. Headspace and Calm are two of the ones that I think people probably know the most about. They both offer a free trial, but then you also have to pay for a subscription once you use up those free meditation trials. 10% Happier sells itself as the meditation app for skeptics. It includes many sessions that teach you how to meditate so that you can improve your life. This is also one that comes with a free trial, and then there is a cost after that. One unique feature to this app is that you can send questions and messages to meditation experts, and then they can respond within a day. There's also a podcast that's available through 10% Happier. So there are lots of different tools that are out here. I think that what's most important is having the mindset that it matters, that it's worth the 5, the 10 minutes, the 3 minutes to actually stop and to do this, because the benefits are real. There is, and I thought that I had some numbers printed out here that I wanted to share with you, but you know, the response that, oh, here we are, sorry about that. Just give me 1 minute. Right, so basically it's not numbers per se, but just sharing a little bit more about how it actually impacts your body. So practicing mindfulness and focusing on deep breaths turns off the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight or flight response. So that immediate, stress that you get, that is produced by our sympathetic nervous system, and meditating actually turns that off so that you don't continue feeling that way, because that's what leads to chronic stress. It also turns on our parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming you down. That also will lower your heart rate and your blood pressure and relax your muscles. It promotes good digestion and supports your immune system. Again, I mentioned that it has effect on memory. So the dominant long-term memory and short-term memory storage hubs, the hippocampus and the frontal brain lobe, also both become stimulated during meditation. That can lead to better long and short-term memory recall, including retrieving long lost memories. So, that's just a little bit of how it actually affects your anatomy and why it reduces stress and anxiety and has all of these other benefits. So I just hope that this, if not new information, was a good reminder of the importance of taking a few minutes to stop and knowing that there are tools that can assist you. Again, if you wear an exercise tracker, you can, a a wearable tracker like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, you have it right there on your wrist. You can just look down and start a breathing exercise. If you don't, most of us have smartphones, so you can just grab your phone and just do a quick 3-minute breathing. You can count as you breathe, so you're still doing something, since I know that a lot of people have a difficult time not doing, but there are options. So tech is here to help. But also know you can do it without tech. As I mentioned, the stop technique I think is really helpful. Stop, take a breath, observe your thoughts, proceed with something that you feel is nurturing and can help you to reduce your stress. So that's what I wanted to go over today, but I would love to have a discussion and answer any questions that you may have. So Shayna, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you again, Fiona. That was a very interesting and helpful presentation. If anybody has any question, please, you can add it on the Q&A, on the Q&A box. Just gonna, share the live screen. Yes, so any questions? Okay, so can we have can we share the PowerPoint or no?
Yeah, and what? I would love to add a little more detail to it as well, if that would be helpful.
Okay. I mean, I don't,
yeah.
Because sometimes after we usually find some questions, some people that wants to have the PowerPoint, but I usually tell them, because the webinar is being recorded, so they will find the information, but some people will probably want to have the PowerPoint. But if you have the PowerPoint, yes, you can reach out to me. Okay, there's a question. Vanessa, you can type in your questions, because this doesn't allow me for you to talk. I will press it, but it's not gonna work for some reason. But if you have a question, you can just type it in on the Q&A box. Let's see if I can allow you to talk, but usually it doesn't. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Vanessa. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you can see it. I've never heard of acupressure. What is that?
Acupressure?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it guides you through different pressure points or different points in your hand or on your feet or different parts of your body that you can press and hold for a certain amount of time, and that helps to relieve stress as well. It's I believe it's, a Chinese method of I don't know if you want to call it massage, but I'm trying to think of the other word. When you go to a massage place, they do it on your feet. The word is failing me, but basically there are certain points in the body where when you press them, it releases the stress and the tension.
Okay. Oh, she said thank you. She didn't know the formal name.
Okay. Right. So are people able to talk, Shayna?
Yes, and then apparently now I click on it, it works. But I've been trying for the last webinar, and then it wasn't working.
Great. So I would just love to hear feedback from others who were on the line. Has anybody practiced any kind of mindfulness? Have you found that it really does benefit you? Are you a skeptic? I'm just curious. And have you used any tech to help you with mindfulness? Quiet group.
Yes. If you any question, like if you don't want to talk, so you can add the questions on the Q&A box. But Can you also put your, oh, here you go. There's a question. Oh, we all mute. Yes, you were mute. So let me unmute you. 1 second. Okay, I have to unmute. Here you go. Vanessa, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So yes, I've practiced and do practice mindfulness. I've used tech to do it, but I don't really use it as a habit. The one app that I have, which is a meditation app, is called Breathe.
Oh yeah,
But
that's actually the stop, breathe, and think. It's the same one that we went through, I believe. Does it look familiar? The one that I went through?
no, the one that I mean, you were in it, but I don't think it's the same because I just downloaded the app that you were referencing, and this app is literally called Breathe, B-R-E-T-H. In any event, it's similar to most apps that in that it offers free content, but it's very limited. But so I haven't used it a lot, but I mean, yes, I agree that mindfulness works. It's not easy to do, especially if, you're just getting started. If what I would say is and I mean, basically what I do is, I do check in with myself as soon as I wake up. As soon as I open my eyes, I find myself in not the best state, and so at that point, it's just kind of checking in and seeing how I'm feeling. Similar to what Fiona said, stop. Take a moment, make some observations, and then figure out what's going on, why I'm feeling that way, and literally make attempts to change my mind. It doesn't always work immediately, but eventually you do feel something. You do feel lighter, you do feel lifted, you do feel encouraged in the same way you do when you pray. You pray, you may not necessarily feel whatever angst you're feeling inside, whatever has you in a tizzy, you stop and pray, you may not necessarily feel a change immediately, but eventually something does overcome you. And what I found is, also I'm just tired of being anxious. I don't have any more room or energy to be angry, to be anxious, to be worried, to think less of myself than who I really am, to second guess myself. It just became too hard. So I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I didn't expect to.
No, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing this way.
So I just decided to so I just, what I do is when I'm feeling some kind of way, when I'm feeling heavy, when I'm feeling, and I always know it, like I can literally feel it coming on. I try to stop, just sit a while, or let the feeling pass through. I don't try to fight the feeling. I don't try to ignore the feeling. I don't get anxious necessarily about the feeling anymore. I just sit with it and let it pass, and know that it's okay to have those feelings. I'm not going to break. They're not going to kill me. And like with anything, you practice enough, you get better at it. But what I found is that it's just a lot easier to check in with myself, to get in touch with what I'm feeling and not fight it. And in that way, it does pass. And I can think a lot more clearly, and the things that seem so stressed and insurmountable, I'm able to look at them differently. So I'm sorry, I can go on and on and on. I'll stop.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I hope the other panelists are hearing that and taking that in, because that is so important to do, because those feelings are real. And like you said, we eventually get to the point where we're just tired of them and don't want them anymore, and start turning to the tools and the resources that can help us, you know, not ignore them or suppress them, but just manage them,
Right.
you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyone else able to share whether they are a skeptic, whether they've used it, it's helped, it hasn't helped? Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. I want to reiterate that I am a former caregiver. You know, this April will be 3 years since my mom passed, and it's like yesterday. And I can honestly say that I did not necessarily take advantage of these things as I was caregiving, and I wish I did, because the experience, you know, we get so caught up because we love so much and we want to do so much, and we forget about ourselves, and we got to care for ourselves first and foremost. We always got to give from that full cup, right? All the cliches that you hear that you just kind of roll your eyes at, they're so true. You know, they're so absolutely true. And I'm still very busy and I still have a full life, but now I have these tools that I'm using to help to manage the stress and to help to manage any kind of anxiety that comes with life. So, you know, I hope that this has piqued your interest if you haven't used any of these resources before. And I hope that, as Vanessa said she did, that you'll also download the app. I was confused because when you look at the icon, Vanessa, after you download it, it just says breathe. So I thought that maybe you were already using this app, but I hope you will check it out. I love all the resources, the free resources that they offer through this app. There are other great ones, of course. They just tend to have a cost.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, I'm sorry, Fiona, really quickly. So the app finished downloading. Yes, it does say breathe. I see why you thought it was the same, but the difference is that, well, first of all, the logo icon, the branding is different.
Okay.
Your app has that little, you know, cloudy face that you showed, and it's breathe is spelled the way the dictionary spells it. The app that I have, it has a different spelling. So they are two different apps. I wanted to say one other thing about the self-care and taking care of ourselves. I know for me, I do a pretty decent job of taking care of myself, but we all, you know, get caught up in prioritizing our loved one or the person that we're caring for, in the same way mothers prioritize their children. For me, what makes it difficult, or has made it difficult, to stop and do me and sort of put my mask on first, is that guilt. Don't ask me where the guilt comes from. It's not really justified. I deserve to take care of myself, but I wasn't giving myself permission to do what I want to do and to live my life as though I'm in charge of my life. Nobody else is. I'm in charge of me. And there have been just times where I just would not give myself permission. So it's like, okay, I really want to go to the gym, but I really need to get this done. And you know what? That can wait. So that's all. I just wanted to say, for me, what has prevented me in times from taking care of myself is just not giving myself permission. So I don't know if that's an issue for anyone else, but I present it just in case it is.
Thank you. I love this. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So again, this presentation will be added to our website. And if you want to know more about our services, please visit us on all these all these links. goes directly to the website to the specific services that you're looking for. Again, Fiona, thank you for a wonderful presentation. You're welcome to come back. We love you to come back and do another presentation where somebody that participate can go back and have the same experience as everybody is today.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. And I'd love for us to have a conversation. I love chatting.
Great. Thank you again. And have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the webinar.